Let's go over a couple of different ways to take screenshots and annotate them using Wayland. So we're going to go over using tools like Slurp, Grim, Satty, and even Niri screenshotting tools. Now, if you're not using Niri, that's fine. You can always swap out the Niri commands using whatever your compositor provides, like Hyperland, etc. So yeah, we're going to go over how to take a screenshot of a specific region of the screen, the focused window, the focused monitor, and even multiple monitors. And if you have multiple monitors, you'll even be able to just grab a region from, let's say, your left monitor into your right monitor, and everything is just going to work, even if those monitors have different resolutions. So with that said, let's demonstrate some of this stuff, and then we're going to hop into the code to see how it's all wired together, because really, it's taking advantage of a couple of open source tools with just a little bit of shell script to glue everything together. But yeah, let's say that you want to just grab a region like this to prepare to take a screenshot. And don't worry about the hotkeys that I'm hitting. We'll go over some of that code there afterwards. But what's pretty cool about this, notice the numbers by my mouse cursor in the right. They are changing. So right now it's 559 by 239. That is the width and the height of the selection. So what's pretty cool now is like if I just hit escape, nothing else is going to happen. So you kind of get this nice little side feature of being able to measure anything on your screen. If I want to measure that moon, maybe I can be like, all right, well, I realize I grabbed that a little bit too much left here, but maybe that moon's 23 or 24 pixels wide. Kind of a nice little thing. But yeah, let's say we want to grab this area of the screen. I'm going to let go. Now it's going to open up Satty, and this is the annotation tool. And you don't need to annotate things like lines and arrows, etc. If I just hit this icon or hit Control-C, that has been copied to my clipboard now, and I'm free to paste this into wherever I want. Maybe there's some website where you can paste into a form. Maybe you want to paste it into an email or Slack or anything like that. So that's pretty cool. So let me go back to here. And then also, by the way, if you don't want to copy things, you can also just do this, Control S there to save it to disk. And that's going to be saved to your XTG pictures directory by default. That's how I have the script set up here. But again, you can customize that stuff however you see fit. So yeah, if you want to write stuff to disk, you can totally do that. I find personally that I usually just copy things to the clipboard because then I go and paste them into some tool. But yeah, all right, let's say that you do want to actually annotate some stuff. So you can just start drawing whatever you want here. You can see some colors here on the bottom. That's pretty cool. You can pick different colors if you want. There's all sorts of different shades that are available here. If you want to go to a custom color, you can put in whatever hex code that you want, or even just grab a color from the active screen here. So maybe I'm going to do this instead. So there we go. And then, you're not limited to just freehand drawing as well. You can also put in lines. You can put in some arrows. There's also a rectangle. If you hold down Shift, turns into a square with the aspect ratio. Likewise, with this, you have an oval. Hit Shift, it becomes a perfect circle. Then there's also this idea of adding text here. And what's pretty cool too is that down here you have small, medium, large. So right now you've been using medium the whole time, but now it's going to be a small. So there's a small arrow, and there's a medium arrow, and there's a larger arrow. But like also, if you want to make that even bigger for any of the things, you can just go and just change this multiplier to be something bigger. So now you have a very big arrow, and it's not going to apply to all the other ones that you've done previously. So, now you can start drawing with a really massive size if you want. Again, you can also undo all this stuff, redo stuff. Maybe you want to clear it out. There you go. Maybe we can change this back to the defaults here. So it's back to 1. Medium, pick some color like this. And yeah, let's go and check out this one, because this one I actually use from time to time. This is pretty useful for being able to just add ordered numbers. Like for example, maybe you take a screenshot of something and you just want to let someone know to be like, okay, here's step 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I'm just clicking the mouse here and it's adding these incremented numbers here, which is quite handy. There's this one here too, allows you to blur stuff. You just select what you want and it blurs. I never really use that, but it's there. Again, you can just undo the blur effect, but keep the actual thing there, which is pretty neat. You can also do highlighting. So like maybe I want to take this color here and just highlight this area in orange. Maybe you want to highlight this area in green. Highlight it in a custom color. It's really up to you. You have all the different choices there, which is pretty nice. Now, one workflow that I do quite a bit here is, let's say that I escape out of here and it's time to actually, take a screenshot of something. So let me go and just open up, Thunar here. Let's just say for argument's sake that I wanted to take a screenshot of, for whatever reason, like these 6 folders here in the middle. Now, there's a couple different ways you can do this, right? You can kind of just like go straight in here in one shot and be like, all right, let me just grab hopefully maybe that's pixel perfect. I don't know, it's not. And just let go here, right? And that is going to open up Satty here, and there you go. But here's a use case I find comes up pretty frequently. What if I wanted to now add an arrow pointing inwards toward this folder? It's like, well, Unix pipes kind of killed us here because it's like, I can't make the screenshot region any bigger after the region has already been set. So, I've used tools like FlameShot in the past, and it worked a little different in the sense that it allowed you to crop things and annotate things all at the same time. So we can sort of do that here as well. For example, what I typically do in practice is maybe I'll just grab this. I'll just pick a bigger section on purpose. And now it's like, I just want these 6 folders here in the middle. Now I can just freely add my arrows here to the left and right. And yeah, there is a cropping tool available here as well. So now it's like you have this ability to fine tune this crop down to wherever you want it. And you kind of get to do the annotating and the cropping at the same time, more similar to how Flameshot worked. So this is a use case I do quite a lot here. So then once you're happy with that, then you can always hit Control C now. And then, yeah, that would just copy that crop thing to your clipboard. Another thing that you could choose to do is, you can just grab this whole entire basically monitor, like freehand the region there. And then, yeah, now you can just go and, crop to whatever you want here. Maybe you want to move this to a different area. You can even do that. So it's like you have all this different flexibility here as well, which is pretty nice. So that's basically Satty's features, just being able to annotate things. But, now let's say that maybe you just want to capture the active window or the monitor or both monitors because maybe you don't want to use a region. I use these features a lot less frequently. They're nice to be available, but like I usually just grab a rectangle of the area. But yeah, I actually have a whole bunch of different binds set up here for screenshotting the region, the window, the focused monitor, and all monitors. So I've been hitting Super S here to take a screenshot of the region, but I can do Super Shift S to take a screenshot of the window. So right now we have Thunar here, so I'm gonna hit Super Shift S, and that is going to pop open Satty again. But notice this time that it is going to actually just grab the window. You can notice here Waybar is not a part of this screenshot. And then also you can see the wallpaper there isn't as well. And yeah, it's pretty nice. And by the way, you probably saw that notification pop up. That is the niri screenshotting tool I am using to just capture the focused window basically. But we'll go over that in a bit here. But yeah, from here, it's like you can do whatever you want to do, right? You can start drawing on here. It's no different from Satty's point of view because really you're just getting input from Grim or niri screenshotting tool. And then it is just allowing you to annotate that. So going back to some of those shortcuts before, maybe you want to grab the whole monitor instead. So that will be Super Control S. So I can do Super Control S here, and that is going to grab the whole monitor. You can see up top here, here's Waybar. You can see the surrounding wallpaper there a little bit too. It's basically the whole monitor. And again, going back to the hotkeys here, if I want to grab everything, all your monitors, in my case, I have 2 monitors, I'm going to do Super Control Shift S. So Super Control Shift and then S. So in that case here, it's going to grab my left monitor and my right monitor, taking a little bit of time here, but there it is. Because there's a lot of resolution here because I really have a 4K monitor and then like a 1440p monitor to the right. Now this looks kind of funny because on the left-hand side, this is the monitor that I've been screencasting here. But on the right-hand side, there is OBS. So you see a duplicate of this actual window here because OBS is capturing this whole entire monitor. You can see the controls there on the bottom for OBS. And the white background is actually on purpose. My second monitor's background is white when I'm recording, so it acts as a key light. But yeah, that's all of that set up there. And what's pretty cool too is, let me escape out of here so we're not looking at that. If I just want to grab a region of the screen, I can actually start grabbing this. Now I'm grabbing onto the second monitor. And here I'm going to let go, and you're going to end up seeing outputs from 2 different monitors here, where the left side is, what's being captured by OBS. The right side is actually the top of OBS's menu here on that second monitor. So that's a demonstration of it's pretty nice just to be able to, drag over to a second monitor, let go, and then boom, everything just works, even with the different resolutions and even scaling rates as well. So yeah, that's a demonstration on how most of this stuff works here. Let's go over maybe some of the code to see how it works. In my dot files, everything we're going to go over here is there if you go and want to check it out. But let me go back over here. Let's kill that. I guess we'll just open up a terminal. And we're going to go over to some scripts. So let's start with the niri config, I suppose, real quick, because it kind of shows you how the script is being called. So there's a little script called .screenshot. It takes in 1 argument. So it's like, do you want to capture the region, maybe the window, the focused monitor, or all monitors? And then I have those assigned to different hotkeys that I want. And there's like a little help menu for it. There's how that works. So because you don't need to call it from a hotkey, you can literally just run it from the terminal and just pass in one of these modes here. Let me make it a little bit more centered. So I'm looking a little bit like this instead of way to the left. But yeah, this whole script, what you see on the screen is the entire script. So really it's kind of just like, okay, well, what mode do you want? Region, window, focus monitor, or all? And all of them end up just getting piped into Satty here. And we're just saying the file name. We're not going to write anything to disk. However, if you were to write it to disk with Satty's controls, like hitting Control S, then it's going to go to your XTG pictures directory with your screenshot like that. And if we go and take a look here, in my case, I have that set up to temp here, and we go into pictures. Then yeah, I took some screenshots here during this video and previous video where I failed at something, so I just wanted to redo the beginning. But yeah, in any case here, those ones that got saved to disk, they're all there. And then in this case here, we are using slurp to do the region, and we're just passing in geometry to Grim basically. So there's no long flags for Grim, unfortunately. For example, if I were to open up another terminal here and we do Grim -H, like these are the different flags that are available. So there's geometry, but in any case here, it's like, all right, well, we're just using Grim to capture whatever rectangle that slurp gave us. And yeah, then that's going to be output to standard out, and then that's going to be piped into satty. And then for like the window, let's get that for a sec because it's a little bit different using niri stuff. Monitor all, you could just tell Grim, hey, by the way, I don't care about a specific geometry. I'm just going to grab everything. In addition to that, if you want to filter it down a little bit more, maybe you just want a specific monitor, then you can just tell Grim, hey, I only want this output, because if we go back to here, there's an O flag here for output. And then you just pop in the output name that you want to capture. So in this case here, we're actually using niri, and I'll break this down in a sec on the command line. We're actually using niri's ability to just grab some information about the focused output using JQ just to parse out the name. So let me just grab this to the clipboard and we can play around with this one on the command line. So here, if I run this, you can see DP1 because my main monitor here is on display port 1. So if we even, rewind this a little bit more and we don't use JQ to parse anything out, we can actually see all sorts of things here. It's actually horrendous to read. So let me just use JQ to actually make it a little bit easier to read here. But yeah, if we take a look here, actually, you know what? Let's make it not even JSON. So it's a little bit even easier to read as a human. So if we get rid of the JSON flag there, then yeah, we can see the output here for that BenQ 4K monitor. I've written a blog post about it. Really like it a lot, by the way. But yeah, in any case here, you can see details about it. And then also the name is DP1 there. And again, that's how things are getting parsed out of this. So we just end up here with literally a string called DP1. And then Grim is like, cool, I'm going to take a screenshot of that output. If you have a different output named like HDMI 2A or something, then it will do that. So that's how that works there as well. Like, for example, if I wanted to go to my second monitor right now and do whatever the keybind was, because now I'm failing on video, too many things in my brain are rambling. But if I want to grab this one to be, yeah, super control S on this one, super control S on this one, I'm on my second monitor. You can't see it. I'm going to bring it over. But yeah, I just grabbed the second monitor there, and there it is. So yeah, you can do all sorts of nice things there. And that leaves us with the window one. And by the way, I will mention here too, if you pass in a mode that it doesn't support, yeah, I just wanted to exit out early. It doesn't go to satty here as well. That's pretty nice. So that leaves us with the last mode here, which is window. So in this case here, I found it a little bit difficult to use niri's messaging tool here to get the coordinates of the window that was focused. So I just used as a fallback here niri's built-in screenshotting window tool. So if you just run this command by itself, outside the script, it is going to take a screenshot of the window that you actually have. So this is the focused window, right? In this case here, though, I'm sleeping for half a second, and then we're just like putting that into the clipboard as a PNG, which again is going to be piped into satty. I noticed that without the sleep here, there was some race condition where I guess this was finishing in such a way where it didn't get a chance to get written to the clipboard yet. And then, yeah, in that case here, I ended up with 0 bytes, so basically no image to paste into satty. I haven't had it fail yet with half a second delay here. I would like to kind of get rid of not needing to use niri's screenshotting tool and instead do an approach like this, where you can just pass in geometry with the focused window. But I found this to be really difficult with niri in the way that it outputs information about a window. I don't want to get into the gory details because I was just slamming my head at it for a while, but like it was not easy to do when you have multiple monitors. When I tried to take a picture of the focused window on my second monitor, it was like grabbing output from the first monitor. And like, it could be solved with a lot of math and shell scripting, but I figured, you know what, like niri gives this tool, might as well use it. And if you're using a compositor that's not niri, maybe it outputs its positional information about windows a little bit easier to parse. So then you wouldn't need to do all that crazy math. But in any case here, all these 4 options are working quite nicely. And really, it's just these 2 that have a dependency on your window compositor here. But again, this one is super easy to extract out this information with niri. And again, this is really just outputting your display name. So there's not a whole lot of complicated things going on there. So with that said, I really do like the setup. Who knows, maybe in the future I'll experiment with using Flameshot. But for now, just piping together a couple of tools here gives me everything that I want, and I'm pretty happy. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer all of them. If you have any suggestions or improvements, sure, let me know. I'm always open to PRs. If you like the video, please give a thumbs up. Really does help a lot. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.